I wasn't here for the first half, so if you already went over this, feel free to tell me to get out of here.
Get out of here, please.
Did you already talk about how to find the best manager for your particular niche?
No.
I'm in this situation where whenever I perform, people say, why aren't you famous? You need a manager to get you more famous. But obviously it's that catch-22 thing where if you're not at a certain level of success, then it's hard to attract a manager. I was wondering if you have any suggestions on that. And also, is a typical arrangement where the manager will take a % or do you pay them a fee up front?
Always a percentage, as far as I know.
And as far as finding a manager, I think that you have to maybe look at artists that you are similar to, figure out who represents them, and then maybe try to invite, if not the main manager, an assistant from the office, anybody in the office. You can try that as a target.
Even if the management is quite far away?
Well, you can start sending them music and see what they think. You can target that way. Or if there is some person in the music community in your city, a writer, a radio station, a venue booker, go to them and say, hey, can you get my music to somebody who you think might like it? You have to establish your network, use your network to reach out, because the first person might say no, but they might find you the next person who might say yes.
Well, most of the individual singer-songwriters that I know who are local pretty much are doing it themselves and don't even have, what you would call a manager, like U2 has a manager or whatever. Do you only need a manager when you get to a certain level of...
I think you always need them as long as they know what they're doing and they're working hard for you.
If you have a head for the business and you think you can be...
I don't. That's why I need one.
Well, that's the thing. Some people can. We work with an artists who were self-managed and they have a head for business, even though we started managing them. But if you don't have a head for business, and like Larry said, find a fanager, find a fan, start there, get somebody to help you.
Just a part-time person.
Yeah.
Somebody that the more you're doing of that, the less you're doing of your music.
Right.
So, and again, when it's that early, let's face it, most everyone in this room, it's probably very early. So, but you want somebody to help you that also is going to understand, again, maybe can give you constructive criticism, can bring something like as a business sense to them, so you can bounce things off them. The other thing is too, your music is, I don't know one person that makes music that isn't deeply personal to them, right? It's not like you're working at a bank, right? So you need some separation, right? Because if you do get in that situation where, somebody's criticizing or you're not hearing exactly what you want to hear, you can't take a step back from it. Why? Because it's so personal, it's your music. How dare you say that about what I've just done? That's what a good manager can kind of be the diplomat, right, between these things and kind of walk you through the process. And if they truly are have your best interest at hand, they'll tell you hey, you're making a mistake, or you're being too personal, or you know what, you're making the right decision. But you got to have somebody that kind of mitigates that process, I think.
Manages expectations, basically.
Right. That's how we call a manager.
The information I've gotten so far is that there aren't too many in San Diego, that everybody's in LA. Is that correct? Or
Can I say something? I'm from here, right? It's amazing what's going on down here. And I remember going to punk shows, and they were all these little shitty Wabash Hall. Anything that had 4 walls and a roof, that's where they do a punk show. It'd be and it'd be there for 1 or 2 nights, and then it'd close down. And then we had to go to LA because no one would want to come down here. And then I was fortunate enough to work at a small label, Cargo Records, and it was this kind of influx of like indie punk, whatever bands. And there was this scene, but it was 3 clubs, right? It was Tim Mays, that was 4, right? Len from Soma, Tim, Bodie, and I'm trying to forget the other guy that he did the Spirit Club. But now I go out, and it's I haven't been down to North Park, right? Or Golden Hill. And Golden Hill, you didn't go down there, really, there was really no reason to go down there. And if you did go down there, you were kind of slightly insane. 15 years ago, it was just what are you trying to prove, right? And now it's there's all this, the point of getting to is just all this music, right? It's going on down there, and there's huge scene. There's all these avenues. And I can't remember the last time a band broke, other than Switchfoot, I guess, you want to call it that, Blink, like, it's been a long time since a band came out of San Diego. And there's a lot of like great, there's avenues, there's this thing. I mean, they don't have these things in many cities.
But is there any kind of centralized resource for, okay, here's where you find a manager? I mean, when I looked in the phone book or on, I didn't find anything, or like 2 people.
There are some industry directories, but I would say your best opportunity is find somebody who works in some part of the music industry and get them to help you. But find a marketing person for a radio station, a concert promoter, a club owner, a writer. Hey, I need some help. You got to get it started.
And here's my point. There's so much of that going on right now. There's so many people doing so many things musical down here, clubs. I mean, the fact that there's 20 places within a 10-block radius. You know how many cities would kill for that? How many artists? You should be taking advantage of that. Those people are all talking to somebody.
But here's the best example. Do you know where Dave Matthews' band manager got his start? Anybody know?
Charlottesville, Virginia.
He was the bar owner at the club where Dave played. He owned the bar.
So was the manager of the Strokes. He ran Brownies.
So
And Brian Epstein ran a record store. Yeah.
So
there you go.
They all start somewhere.
Yeah. So, okay, that's a good idea, because I wouldn't have thought of somebody with another occupation.
I don't even, can we get to someone?
Thank you.
If you don't have another occupation when you start off, then you're not living.